sit with and talk to, even when he was in his coma. Didn't matter. We just showed up just to show him we loved him, we were there.
So did Justin go get the mail? Did he say anything when he came back about maybe getting into something?
I didn't know when he came back. All I heard, because I was in my room sleeping from 7 to right before the commotion. And I know that's when he went and got the mail, he came back. And whoever it was, I thought he was talking to his mom on the phone. I said to him, because he says, no, it wasn't me. No, I didn't do it. And I thought he was talking to his mom on the phone. I told him, you know, it's in the room. I said, Just, don't talk to your mom like that.
He might have been calling me.
Yeah.
He might have been calling out for me.
So then what happened?
I went into the living room because I wanted to, he didn't answer me. And I looked over to the patio and the door was closed. I looked over to the living room again, and the front door was open about so much. And that's when I went to the front door and looked for Justin. That's where the ball was happening in the hallway over there, and where he came out of that ball.
So the commotion woke you up?
The yelling. I was laying there in bed, and that's when I'm hearing him, no, it wasn't me, no. And I'm thinking, okay, he's on the phone with his mom. Why do you want to talk to her that loud?
And what time of day was that?
Huh?
What time of day was it?
That was, right before 9 o'clock?
In the morning.
In the morning, yeah. And that's when I came out to the living room, and I didn't see him, and I looked at the patio, and the door was shut. That's when I saw the front door open. And that's when I looked out the front door, and that's when I saw the beating was happening. And
so does anybody here know what the original call out was? Why the police came to the apartment? Does anybody know what that is?
Nobody's letting us know anything. And that is torture. That's torture. It's torture that my son was tortured to death. And it's torture for us to stand here and them not telling us. Wondering every day, was my son calling out for me?
I know.
What happened? I want to know. They didn't let me see him, and I took his hand, and he was already, it was stiff. They didn't let me see him until he was dead. And then they put him on life support after he was dead. They do that.
You know, we know that that the officers had their body cams on, and we have made a request for those on at least several occasions, and we have been denied the opportunity to visit to see the video. It seems to me that will clarify a lot of things for both the family, because it's part of the pain that families suffer when there's a video and they can't see it, and there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to see it. And it would be easier for them to know, to see it, but the department has refused to do it. In fact, you know, on another case we find out that they had made a real cost analysis that we couldn't see the videos. Now I've seen many videos in various departments. Often they will allow the family to see the video. They may not let the lawyer see the video, but to me, it's important for the family to get some degree of closure on a situation. Hiding the ball from them does not promote transparency, and certainly it hides accountability. And part of why you have to have a lawsuit is to bring about the issue of transparency and the issues of accountability. Families should not have to suffer in darkness when avenues are available for the police to allow them to see what happened. And that part, and frankly, the new laws that have been passed are going to be real godsends, if you will, because one is going to allow for records to be produced, particularly records of prior misconduct. And then later in the year, they will be required to show videos, allow those videos to be seen within 45 days. Now, I recognize that there will be some dispute about when that will take place, but it seems to me modern day policing requires a level of accountability and a level of transparency, and that the best evidence of all of this is in fact the videos, and the families should have access to that sooner than later. They should not have to wait a year, 2 or 3 years from now, and because during that period of time they are suffering emotionally and mentally. They are suffering, and certainly if they had access to the videos, that process could be cut short, rightly or wrongly. You know, whatever it shows, but it is the best evidence for everyone, and it can be cut down on the conjecture.
Mr. Burrs, can you respond to a statement that the city put out today, which says
that they were called here and they accused Mr. Perkins of attacking a maintenance worker here.
Well, I
so
will
I'm
say,
not clear if there was a 911 call and what you know at this point. They also claim their officers were injured and haven't gone back to work yet.
well, I will say this. Apparently they were there pursuant to a call. I don't dispute that. I don't know, and I do think police officers have a right to respond and make contact with the person. The question is, what do you do when you make the contact? And given that this was maybe an assault that wasn't done in the officer's presence, may have been a felony, maybe not, but that doesn't then justify to unleash a barrage of assaultive conduct. So I'm more than willing to concede that there was a 911 call, rightly or wrongly. They have a right to respond to it, but there was nothing about it that would justify the use of the level of force. And part of the fact is, it was really the officer's aggressiveness that caused the young man to have to defend himself. You have a right to defend yourself if in fact your life is about to be taken from you in a brutal way. If he bit the officer deserved it.
That's
Because if in fact what he was trying to do was survive, and that was the only weapon he had available to him, the fact that the officers were injured, the officers caused this confrontation. You cannot cause the confrontation and then beat the person out of it and then blame the person. So those are factual questions that we will have to deal with in due course. I'm never overly impressed by police officers' statements because it's always designed to cover for what they've done. There's never any admission. They killed this man. They never said that our conduct caused it. So that's just a factual dispute issue that we deal with in the course of litigation. Every case I have, and I've had a lot of them, the police always have a version to support their conduct. What I'm really saying, we're at a point now, show the video. Maybe you had a basis to stop. Did you have to use that level of viciousness and assaultive conduct? That's a factual question that we'll have to fight through. Okay? Thank all of you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Hold on, Tanisha. What do you want to say? I want to say one thing. Because we have put forth an ADA claim here, American Disability Act, and that's because it should have been readily apparent to these officers that they were dealing with a mentally challenged person. And when that is clear, then you have an opportunity to assess whether or not you've given that person a reasonable opportunity, whether or not the de-escalation group that deals with mentally ill person should have been called. This is a situation where you knew where that person was, you could have called that off, you could have called for the CIT, and you could have waited. No, they didn't do that. They rushed in to use force because they thought they could with impunity. And we're saying you're not going to be able to do it with impunity. We're going to call the question, and you're going to have to answer that question at some point. All right? Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm doing.
Sure.
Yeah.
My name is DeWitt Lacey. I'm also one of the attorneys at Mr. Perez's office, and we're representing the family. I'll say this. The officers involved in this incident knew that striking someone on the head with a baton was wrong. They knew that that was an abuse of power. The officers understand that certain chokeholds are wrong and goes against their training. They understand that if they keep doing these things, that not only will somebody potentially be very hurt, but they may likely die. They knew all these things. They're trained this in the most basic of police practices and academies. However, they did these things anyway, with great risk to Justin Perkins' life. And so it is that we are here fighting for Justin, because he should not be dead, and he deserves to have someone speak out for him. And the family has come to us, and we definitely agree with the facts that have been given to us that there was some wrong done here, and we want to make it right. All right. We wish that law enforcement or the city would give over the videos to offer clarity for some of the questions that you've offered today, but they haven't. They hold the cards. They know what these officers did. We have folks who've seen what these officers did, and by his account, it was a tremendously egregious abuse of power, and we intend to get justice. Okay? We appreciate y'all being here.
Part of a response on the part of the police department is when they don't don't take responsibility for their conduct, essentially it's a ratification of that conduct. And the ratification of that conduct then establishes a policy of ratifying misconduct on the part of the officers, which then creates the impression for all the other officers that you have a right and a freedom to do these kind of things and not be held accountable. That has to be dealt with. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you.
There have it, folks. Please share the video. Do join Homeless Advocates for Christ on Facebook. Also, if you'd like, and pray for justice in this situation and all the situations with the police abuses of power out there. Let's just pray that the truth is revealed. And it's hard for a family to go through something like this. Pray for them to be comforted and given strength also, and to get through this, and just a lot less of this will happen. Ultimately, that's what we want. So thanks for your prayers and support. Please share the video. May God bless you as you seek first His kingdom always. Bye-bye.